There's a line in the sand. Where will you stand?
We are coming to our end of Where in the World is Hanok Young? And right now, Virginia, if anybody is in the area of Gloucester, Virginia, and when I say in the area, I'm talking about, if you're within a few hundred miles of Gloucester Point, Virginia, you need to be at House of David tonight with Hanok, with Barry Phillips, that group, for the final presentation that Hanok is going to be doing. After that, he'll be walking out the door, clicking his heels together, and flying back home.
Yeah, it may very well be the last time that people can see this presentation. But in any case, yeah, this is the end of 19 engagements, the last of 19. It's interesting. Every speaking tour has its learning moments
Yeah,
and key insights, and then you kind of try to work to plan to do things better next time, assuming there'll be a next time. So it's all intriguing, lots of thoughts running through my head.
sure.
But of course, far more important is what's going on in Israel.
Yeah, your statement, assuming there will be a next time, is I kind of keyed in on that one right there.
Oh, no. I don't mean anything like globally.
Okay.
I mean in terms of my coming to America to speak.
Yeah,
That's the at the end of every trip, that's always a question mark.
yeah. I
But,
was thinking global, but
no,
yeah, I know.
no.
Okay, so maybe when you get back, if there's time and there's some boring days, we'll talk about your time here. But for now, let's shift gears, of course, and head to the news that's happening
Okay.
back home.
So it's kind of you just can't get past the issue of when is Iran and their proxies going to attack?
Yeah,
How are they going to attack? In how many stages? How is it going to be orchestrated? And any one of our listeners who has the precise answers to that should let someone in the world know, because everybody's guessing. So on the one hand, you've got, well, first of all, let me clarify for people, because I've been in touch with a lot of people in Israel, in particular the last few days. When you read that Israel is bracing, that's misleading, in that we're on high alert, we're
yeah,
always prepared. People are going to work,
sure.
people are getting their cars repaired, people are shopping for food, people are going out dancing, people are going to the movies. It is business as usual. And that's a really important thing. That's number one. Number two, of course, we know that many of the airlines that had been flying to Israel have ceased, at least temporarily,
Yeah,
to see what's going on. How that plays out, how long that'll play out, no one
yeah,
knows. In addition, the Biden administration has already warned Israel publicly that whatever Iran and their cronies do, don't retaliate too strongly. Otherwise, American aid, assistance, political support will once again be withdrawn. So this is an ongoing dance. If you've read that the IDF chief of staff, our minister of defense, if you've read articles that indicate that we're considering a preemptive strike, I mean, we know we're going to be hit. So why not hit Iran and Hezbollah in particular now? Personal opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. I
I
think
don't
it
either.
should,
Totally
but
agree.
politically, it's
Yeah,
an unacceptable thing politically in terms of the Americans.
yeah.
So that's kind of in a nutshell. We continue to wait. I did read an article the other day saying that Iran was planning to strike on Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av,
Yeah.
the day the temples were destroyed, a day of mourning. That will be Monday night, Tuesday of next week,
Yeah.
when I'll be home.
And you will be
So,
back for that. Yeah.
yeah. So, you know, the joke a friend made was like, yeah, Iran is waiting for you to come back, Hanoch. And then, you know, then the next shoe will drop. So that's, you know, that's what, you know, and every single news outlet and writer is writing their thoughts, their opinion, what it, the it'll be in waves, it'll be simultaneous, it'll be, no one knows.
Well, they pretty much have turned their back on a rabbinic scholar who said, "No one knows what is to be until it is."
You know, it's no one has tremendous insight into what Iran is actually thinking. As in their own words, they're looking to quote unquote punish Israel. How that'll look, we don't know. You know, and then sometimes you read news reports and news releases, and you think, is it just me or is the entire world gone insane? The other day, Hezbollah, Iran announced for Hezbollah that Hezbollah will now no longer refrain from not targeting civilians in Israel. Excuse me, they've been killing civilians. They just killed 12 of our children a little over a week ago. I mean,
Yeah.
so why and how that necessitated a press release, a conference, a statement, I don't know. I really don't know.
It just goes to show the stupidity, the arrogance. I could put in a lot of different adjectives regarding these people that somehow they want to portray that Hezbollah has been trying to not kill civilians, which is an absolute total lie. But of course, the media that that we have today will never report something. That machine. I was listening to a broadcast last night, and it was talking about the machine that is today, and specifically in America. What we saw last night, a middle of the night coronation of Harris, the various things. If anybody believes that there was anything
I'm
legitimate
sorry,
about this.
I don't know what you're referring to.
So she is actually now the nominee. She is
Oh
the
yeah,
actual, yeah,
okay.
yeah. But that it was in the middle of the night, all these things. There's nothing legitimate. This is a machine that is moving forward with all of its parts really oiled, and there's so many different players that are complicit in it. But that's America, and the more that America uh, pressures Israel, turns its back on Israel. I mean, if you go back to John McTiernan's books, go back to David Cohen, yeah, Koenig, watch.org, various places, you can see documented when America turns its back on Israel, what happens. And right now we got a hurricane spinning right over, a little bit east of us. We're not getting any effects of it, but there's a possibility it could run out into the ocean and strengthen again and come back in. So these things are not without consequence. There will be consequences for America's actions.
You know, it's interesting. Of course, when we do our broadcast next week, Im Yirtzeh Hashem, I'll be home. But actually, I think now, if we have a few minutes, I'd like to share just a few quick observations as
Sure.
I traveled around and spoke. Um, it astounded me the range of knowledge and background that people had or didn't have. I mean, it really was from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
And ironically, those groups that I thought would have a better handle on it, either theologically or I don't know, in terms of the orientation of the congregations that they participate in, it surprised me they didn't, and others for whom I thought were far out in the perhaps in more mainstream Christian congregations had a much better understanding, a much better read on Israeli history. And it continues to shock me how much people never spend any time reading. You know, silly example, a person who had asked me if, because I was speaking about the history of the Temple Mount and how in June 1967, our Minister of Defense, Moshe Dayan, made a decision on his own to give internal control, daily control, to the Islamic Waqf, the Religious Council. Woman raises her hand and wants to know, is he still active in Israeli politics? He was our Minister of Defense in 1967. That was 57 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, or within the last year, the person who said to me, we were talking about Israel, and he said, Israel still has the Sinai, right? That was surrendered to Egypt in 1982. It's, and I'm talking about readily available sources and information. So it really comes down to how much you want to know, how much you want to be involved. When at the end of the presentation, I went into all the different things that people can do, like right from their home. I noticed in many cases a glassy look. Even when I said take 15 to 20 minutes a week and write emails, it could be the same email. I only know one congregation that actually did that.
Oh, good. So, I mean, you had statements like questions like, Harris's husband is a Jew, so evidently that's going to make a difference.
Well, and that the vice presidential nominee from the Democrats might be a Jew as well. I don't understand what it is that people think that
I don't.
if someone is born Jewish, that will, you know, it's been 11 years that I've been traveling and speaking in America. And I don't know how many times in our broadcasts I've tried to explain, because someone is born of a Jewish mother in the United States of America does not mean that they have any connection whatsoever to Israel.
Or to the Torah, or to the God of Israel. I mean, they really have nothing at all. It's like on the other side.
Well, just 1 second.
Okay.
We don't know what each and every individual
Well, of course,
American
yeah.
Jew has.
Yeah.
That, I mean, see, that's the whole thing. But assuming because they're born in a family, again, with a Jewish mother. I mean, this, you know, the person pointed out to me that Harris's husband is a Jew, and their two adopted daughters, I believe, yeah, she doesn't have children of her own,
Right.
are Jewish. Now, I know for a fact that one is a Hamas supporter, because she's gotten a lot of press on that. But again, what is it that people, I still struggle. And again, this is a thing, it's a tour guide thing, where you take something complex and you boil it down so someone gets an understanding of it on whatever level they're at. And I don't know any more ways that I can say, I don't know why. That's this. Okay, let's reverse it. Someone is born into a Christian family.
Yeah.
It's a majority of Americans. Why do you assume because their granny went to, you know, First Baptist, you know, half a mile down the road?
Mine did, by the way.
Pardon me?
Mine did, by the way.
Oh, well, the perfect.
Yeah.
That someone has quote unquote Christian values, or even better, another bizarre statement, Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah.
It's you are really making an ass out of yourself by assuming that. Really.
Well, you know, it comes down to you mentioned it in your presentation, and I hope that eventually you'll be able to put this out into a wider realm here. Uh, does Israel even matter? Is the question that is kind of floating behind the scenes here. The answer for the vast majority of people is no, no. Give you an idea. I saw a friend of mine yesterday, and we were riding back together in his truck. And I said, guys, I'm sorry. It was three of us in the car, and I said, guys, I've got to make a phone call. I'd received a WhatsApp from a friend of mine in Israel. There was a very special, an emergency need that they run on. They run. I can't give. I'm not going to give specifics here, but they run total solar. There's been a lot of terrorism in the area recently, and so because of that, they have security cameras, but their security cameras will not work with the level of solar power that they have.
Right.
So they need to upgrade their solar power. So I said, I need to make a phone call and talk to another acquaintance of mine. And I said, yeah, I need to raise $2,000 by midnight. And this guy's like, wow, you can do that? I said, oh yeah, no problem. He says, wow, could you raise $2,000 for me? I mean, that is like the world revolves around me, when in fact the world revolves around Israel. As you said in your presentation, anybody that picks up the scripture, the Torah, the Tanakh, the writings, Gospels, you can't read that without figuring out that it's all about Israel. It's just not possible. So that, I mean, I know that we beat this thing over and over a lot of times, but I hope that people at some point in time understand the frustration that both of us share when we go to a messianic congregation, messianic Hebrew roots congregation, and the questions that we receive are like totally off the wall, and then go to a Baptist church and have some of the most intelligent questions that we've been asked.
It continues to astound me. Just as a little footnote, the presentation that you referenced, which was from last January,
Yeah.
Does Israel Even Matter, has been online for 6 months already.
Yeah. And then
That was
this,
posted.
I think I got the titles messed up.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
This one, the name of this one is
What Will Be.
What Will Be. I've already put that into my folder over here. So that's where our frustration is sometimes, that as teachers, as speakers, you just wonder, and I know that I'll probably get an email or a text from somebody, and as I did last week, that says, yeah, people are giving. I know that there's a lot of people giving, and if you're giving and you're praying for Israel and you're keeping up, guys, we're not talking to you, okay? Hey, kola kavod.
And
Wonderful.
why do they automatically, if they're already doing this, why are they so defensive?
Yeah, we're talking to the one
We're
that's
not saying, we're
Yeah.
not saying each and every one of y'all bad
Yeah.
guys.
No,
So
I
I don't know what,
applaud.
yeah.
I applaud anyone that is giving, that's praying, that's doing anything. I applaud them. But I mean, for those people that I'm congratulating right now, that I'm applauding right now, look around you. How many of your acquaintances that you're talking to are turning a deaf ear? If you're not frustrated over that, I don't understand.
You know, I speak at this juncture in my speaking career. I speak to groups that are exclusively, at least in their minds, pro-Israel.
Yeah.
Exclusively. Because people say, like, do people ever, I mean, listen, I was heckled when I was in Louisiana. But that's unusual.
Yeah.
Typically, I'm speaking to people who at least have an interest in a caring for Israel. But the fact that they don't take, that there are some that do not take that caring to another level. And I'm not talking about strictly financial.
Yeah.
I don't want, I too have gotten the notes like, I'm living on a small fixed income. I'm not asking you to turn over the deed to your house. Not at all. But if you don't have 15 minutes
Yeah.
to write a note to your elected representatives, then don't tell me how much you care.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I
Well,
really don't.
this comes down to the fact that we really, I mean, in the next few days, may be a turning point, another turning point in the world. When you were here, I had my voice is still shot from the weekend. We did, how long were we there the other night? We were there like 10 hours. Um,
Too long.
yeah, it was quite, and we were talking the whole time. I mean, there was one little brief section that we won't go into that. Crazy, crazy weekend. But it was now I lost my train of thought. My brain is about half fried, Hanok. Do you have any idea what I was talking? Oh, I know. So I had already decided to do a message for this month, and was ready to do a little bit of little bit of edit and encode I had to do. And after your presentation here at Life Assembly, I knew we had to sit down and talk. And so if people want to go to my website, there's a message, and I've titled this, so you don't know about this. There's a title, there's a message titled October 7th, the day the world was revealed. Now, this is a message that people can give to. If they want to order it, get an MP3, they can send it to somebody and educate them. This is another thing people can do. We've talked about how do you affect people? You take a video like this and you share it. You take a
I
video like this, you comment, you share, and maybe they'll go to somebody. Maybe they'll come and knock on your door and tell you that, they're never going to talk to you again. Well, okay, whatever. Maybe they'll unfriend you on Facebook.
It shocked me how many times I've been with people as they're driving me from place to place, and there'll be a big conversation of where they should get gas. Because if they drive another 2.5 miles down the road, they can get it for 2 cents a gallon cheaper.
Yeah.
And when I've tried to engage these people into what more potentially, or how much more effective they could multiply themselves by sharing information, I get the sense like I'm speaking to them in Hebrew. I know what I'm saying, and it makes perfect sense to me, but they don't.
Well, we have a nonprofit ministry. There's no profits here, but I will tell you something I believe to be prophetic. Uh, we are in days that you're not going to be able to sit on the fence. People are going to have to make a decision
Oh yeah,
which side that they're
everything
on.
and everyone is being sorted out.
Yeah.
Even every congregation, even every organization that wants to put on a conference or something.
Mhm.
Everybody's got to make choices.
Yeah. Yeah, and it comes down to a message I did on Shabbat. Where do you define home? I mean, I define home as Israel. I live in North Carolina. You define home as Israel. You live on Facebook. But it is where you define the word home. And so when I see in, the red alert, when a rocket attack is going into Kiryat Shimona or to different places,
Right.
this is an attack on my home. There comes a point, if you're in a community and there's a burglar in the area, and you got your little Ring camera, and it's telling you that the burglar's, two doors down, and now he's across the street, and now he's down the street. It's like, wow, look at that. There's a burglar. But when it now comes to your doorstep, there's a difference there. So this war and what may happen in the coming days, and with the 9th of Ab coming up, yeah, it should be, we should have an unsettledness within us that should cause us to pray at a different level, because this has not been the greatest day in history for 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 our family.
Yeah, it challenges ahead, no doubt about it. People who ask me, okay, so if you don't have tourists to guide, like what how are you making it? And that's not always coupled with an offer to assist.
Oh no.
Which is, again, it's just, what's interesting is the sort of psychological or psychosocial thinking behind what people say and how they act. If I could distance myself from myself, it would be fascinating to look at.
That would be if you're ever able to do that, please let me know. I'd like to watch that. Today, I think being involved in the right thing.
Every life, every person, while they're given the gift of life, should be saying, what else can I do?
Yeah.
What drives me? What do I, it's almost like when we're all little kids and everyone always asks us, so what do you want to be when you grow up? There should be something greater. Now, for some people, it's like, well, they want to get married, they want to have X number of kids, they want to own a house that's so big in such a location and has, X, Y, and Z, critters around the house. Okay. Or do you have something more than that? Is there something that you want to bequeath to the world? This is my legacy.
Yeah.
When I am no longer standing on this earth, what is it that I want people to look back and say, I learned that from Hanoch. Hanoch showed me this. Hanoch gave me this book to read, whatever it might be. But there should be something more than getting through yet another day.
True. Yeah. The question of people think it's morbid, it's not, but after you die, how many generations will remember you?
And that in and of itself is not the reason to do things, but I have always struggled since I was, 18 years old, 19 years old, always struggled with wanting to do something that meant something in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that. I
Anyway,
can understand. All right, man. Have a great time tonight with House of David. Please
I
give
certainly
them
am hoping
all my
to.
regards. Some of my favorite people in the whole world
Sure.
are up there. And be safe on your way back.
Thank you.
Hashem, we'll talk to you again next week.
Absolutely. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.